Hello everyone, welcome to Loyatine's channel. Forgive me for the shadows today. My lighting system is messing up with me, but hey, we are going to talk about a very important topic. Am I a legally married wife or a husband? Does it matter? If your legally married husband or wife is going to marry someone else, what do you do? So number one, marriage in Ghana is by law. It's not just you decide that, oh, this is how I want to do it, or this is how I want to do it. No, you do it in accordance with law. Because of that, you have to go and follow the requirements of the law. Straightforward. If not, you do all the celebrations and all the shake but in the long run, your marriage will be declared void or invalid. So take note of that. Now, let's start with customary marriages. Ordinarily, a man in Ghana who marries under customary law has the right to marry more than one wife. But then, take note that he can only marry all these wives under customary law. It means that, let's say, Kwesi. If Kwesi marries Amma under customary law, that is a first marriage. Then Kwesi goes to marry, say, Loyatina, second marriage, under ordinance or anything that is signed in the courts or the church or the assembly. Loyatina's marriage with Kwesi will be void and will be invalid. And so in this scenario, Loyatina is not married to Kwesi. They may have done all the paper and all of it, but that is not marriage under the laws of Ghana. Number two, if Kwesi is married to, let's say, under the ordinance, until Kwesi divorces Kwesi cannot conduct any marriage with any other woman in the whole world again. Because for ordinance marriage, it is one person to one wife. And so let's say Kwesi is married to under ordinance. Then Kwesi is separated. They are not divorced. They're not gone to the court. We already learned that for court marriage or marriage was registered under the ordinance, the only place you can dissolve that marriage is in the courtroom. And so if Kwesi and are separated for like 10 years and they have not gone to the court for the court to give them a certificate that I have dissolved your marriage, then Kwesi cannot marry anybody else in this whole world again. So any marriage that Kwesi will go into, whilst his marriage that he signed is still there, that second marriage will be void or invalid. And so it means that the woman or the second wife will not be a legally married wife. Yes. Now, when we say the court wedding and the ones that are signed at the assembly or the church or the courts, there are special requirements, especially for the church one. If you married in a church and that church is not registered under the laws of Ghana, then your marriage is not a marriage. It is not valid. It is not an ordinance marriage. If you are lucky and you did a customary marriage before you came to do that in the church room, then you are lucky. We can say that, oh, you are married under customary law. If you also married at a place where the pastor who is handling that marriage is not registered under the laws of Ghana, it means that your marriage is not an ordinance marriage. It is void. Unless you can show that, oh, we even did an engagement before we came to the court, so you will be lucky. It means that you are married under customary law and your husband can marry like 10 wives, although you signed at the court. But your signing was not in accordance with law because it was the wrong pastor who was not registered who did it. Now, if you also married in a church where they didn't go to the assembly to get certificates, proper certificates, to come and sign. Some churches have their own certificates. So you can sign the church's own certificates. But then that will not be a certificate which is prescribed by the laws of Ghana. And so that marriage will not be recognized under the laws of Ghana. Take note, I already said. If you are lucky and you did engagement before that signing in the church, then it means that you are lucky. We can conclude that, oh, at least they have a customary marriage. But take note that with that customary marriage, the man can marry more than one wife. If you are marrying under customary law, you have to make sure that the customary laws are obeyed. So if there is a custom that says that two people from the same family cannot marry, you have to respect that, because the customary law is what you are going to use to determine whether or not you are married properly under customary law or not. So it means if you say you cannot marry your mother, don't marry your mother, don't marry your sister, it will all be wrong. So don't do it. If you marry under Islamic laws, of course, you know the special laws that are under Islamic laws. You have to respect that and make sure that you are marrying in accordance with that Islamic law. I've already shared a video on how to register marriages under Islam and all. Remember that if you don't register your Islamic marriage at the registry, at the assembly, then it means that marriage is not an Islamic marriage, it's only a customary marriage. And so please watch that video and know the difference between this. Now, if you're married to someone under custom or ordinance or the court wedding or the assembly, and you hear that that person is going to marry, and you know that it is illegal or it is not right, what do? Usually, if it is a customary marriage, usually it is not done in a church. So if your marriage is ordinance and they are going to conduct a customary marriage, you have to alert the families involved and the women involved that you know what you are going to do is illegal. Because if a man marries a woman whilst he's still married to someone under the ordinance marriage, then that is called bigamy, and you can even be imprisoned for that. So please take note. And the person who actually conducts the marriage can be imprisoned. So if you hear that it is going to happen in a church, when they start mentioning during the publication of bans, oh, these people will be marrying next year, oh, next week, first reading, second reading, take note, that is the time, as they are doing the first reading, second reading, that is the time that you notify the church. The same way, when they go to the assembly will publish on their notice board to see, oh, this person is about to marry. If you have notice of it, it's the time that they have notified you in the public. That is the time that you have to rush to the registrar's office and file what we call a caveat. If you can't do it on your own, look for a lawyer to help you, or go to the courts, find a registrar to help you, or go to the assembly and tell them this is who you are. This person is your husband. You have heard that he's going to marry on this particular date, so they should not allow them to marry. Please don't wait till the day that the marriage is happening so that you go and do shege that you not allow them to marry. No, we don't do it that way. So when you hear that, oh, this man and that man will be marrying, this man and this woman will be marrying next week, it means they have published it. At that moment, you have the opportunity to go and see whoever is publishing it. No, this person cannot marry because I am married to this person under the laws of Ghana. And they cannot marry another man or another wife under the laws. Now, doesn't matter if your marriage is actually legally recognized. Of course. If it doesn't matter, you not worry yourself about going to the assembly or signing and all. It matters a lot. When it comes to law, and we are saying, oh, this person is my spouse, or your spouse will get this property, or your spouse will get this. Your spouse is spouse. Definition of the spouse is very important to us. We have to go and look at the laws of Ghana to see that are you actually a spouse under the laws of Ghana, or it is your family or you and your friends who married in your own way. No. So make sure you are complying with the laws of Ghana. If your marriage is not recognized, your children will still be recognized as the children of the person, but then you, the spouse, the husband or the wife, will not be recognized. And so you have to take notice so that you do not put yourself into trouble. Then if you're going to sign in the courts or you're going to sign at the assembly and you're not 21 years, it means you need someone from your father or your mother's side, or you need a mother or your father to sign for you, that they are witnessing that you can marry if you're less than 21. But if you're not less than 21, it means anybody else can sign for you. But if you're less than 21, it means it has to be your father or your mother or a representative of these people who can sign for your marriage to be valid. So when you marry someone, there are some particular cases that you will say that, okay, in the very beginning, we have accepted that this marriage is okay until one of them completes. Now, if one of them complains, then the court will decide whether or not you guys were married in the first place. What are some of these circumstances? Number one, if you have refused to allow the marriage to be consummated, so it means you have not allowed your husband to have sex with you, or you, the wife, has not allowed for sex to happen, or the man has not allowed for sex to happen, or whilst marrying, the woman was pregnant and you thought the pregnancy was yours. Now, three, when you were married, the person was of unsound mind, but you didn't know, or you got to know only at a later point. Or before you married, this person was sick with some venerable disease and you didn't know until a later time. Now, the court says that you can come to us for us to declare that you were never married to this person at all. So either Kwesi or Amma can come to court and say, just because of this, that we have already mentioned, please declare that I was never married to Kwesi in the first place. Now, you have to do this quickly. Within 1 year of you realizing that the person was of unsound mind at the time that you were marrying, or the person had a venerable disease, or the person has was pregnant with someone else's baby and lied to you about it, or the person has not allowed you to consummate or have sex with the person within 1 year, please apply to the court, and the court will declare that you and that person were not married at all in the first place. Yes, we will do that. Also remember that in Ghana, our marriage only recognizes a man and a woman marriage. And so if the person you are married to, you didn't know that the person was, let's say, transgender, or he was not biological male or female, and you only got to know at the point that you married a person, the law says that you can come for us to declare that your marriage is void. Void, void. There was no marriage at all in the first place between both of you. There are also circumstances under which some people would have done the customary marriage and then they want to change it to ordinance marriage. So you've done engagement and then you want to change it to ordinance marriage. But maybe you've been married for like 10 years under custom, then you want to change it into ordinance marriage. Usually we call it blessing in our churches. Usually when they are coming to do this blessing, they intend to change the marriage into a court wedding or a church wedding, which is the ordinance one. But instead of them to go to the courts and get proper documents or go to the assembly and get all the right things done, they don't do it. They just come to the church and celebrate and dance and pray and all and go home thinking they have changed their marriage into court wedding. Please, it doesn't work like that. Make sure you go and pick a form, fill the form. They'll publish bans and say these people are about to marry. If you have issues that they shouldn't marry, let us know. They'll do the normal one like you are now about to marry for the first time before it can be called a valid ordinance marriage. I will end this here. I know there are questions. Please let me know what your questions are. I will answer them in due time. Until we meet again, this is Lawyer Tina, and please stay tuned. Bye.